Good afternoon, this is Lynx. A few years ago, I was at a party and a woman told me, as I was in Chicago, and a woman told me she was worried about a friend of hers that had disappeared. We were just standing around, and people were standing around having drinks and everything, and she was very upset. It was a very close friend, and she didn't know where the friend was, and she saw a look on my face, and she said, "Do you know something?" I couldn't feel her friend at all. There was no connection, there was no feeling, and when that happens, it's usually because the person is not there. And I said, "You know what?" I said, "You need to keep looking." Because my feeling on her at that time was that right now, more than anything, she needed hope, more than she needed for me to be right. One of the things I think that if you're going to do this, or if you're going to get readings, that you need to understand is that it's not always about the psychic being right. It's about what the person really needs at the time that's really most important. She called me a couple of days later to tell me that her friend's body had been found in Chicago with her. It would have done nothing at that time to say, "Well, your friend's not there." She was already working on it. She was already with the police. It felt very much like the situation would be resolved very soon. She was at a party trying to relax, and she didn't really need that on top of everything. She was also throwing the party, so it wouldn't have helped anything to say that in that situation. When we do this, it really isn't about us showing our power, our ability, because really there is no such thing. We're actually connecting to them. We're taking that stuff off of them. The real power comes from allowing a person's abilities, their what they need to shine through, empowering an individual to be themselves, to be who they are, to succeed. That's the real power that comes from this. So remember, as you do readings for people, it's not about being right. It's not always about being right. It's about having the sense to know what the person is really asking for and what they really need, and being able to, in some situations, be able to move them towards another outcome if what you see is leading them towards a place where they're going to feel limited or something like that. And in those situations where the person is dead set on getting involved in the situation where they end up feeling challenged or feeling pain or whatever, and that's what they need. Maybe that's what they need to move them to the next place of their life. No, allowing for that possibility is really something that you should be aware of as well. So remember, as you do this, and as you get readings, it's not always about who's right. It's not always about what's right, because what's right is relative in a lot of cases, and what's may be right for you may not be for them. So maybe you may see in the situation that a painful situation or a painful situation in a relationship isn't really what's best for them, but maybe it's the thing that wakes them up, moves them past. Or maybe they go through a career and it's not, or they make a choice, or they make a decision, or they take a step and they fail. And that failure is the thing that propels them towards greatness. You know, it's not just black and white. It's not just good and evil. It's not just right and wrong. There's a lot of bigger things that come into doing readings for people. So it's not a case of, well, I saw this and it's right and this is what the outcome is going to be. It's usually not that black or white, not that straightforward, and there's a lot of variance to it. And consider that as you do this, and as you move forward, as you learn, as you grow and you develop your style, or as you get readings from people and you're expecting a right or wrong answer. Remember, there's a lot more involved than just right or wrong. I'm Lucky Lynx, as always, wishing you success and good fortune in all that you do. I hope that the public situation and the noise in the cafe was not too much, but sometimes when I get the impulse to do the video, I just shoot it. If you'd like to learn to read tarot a little more deeply, or a little more variance, I have an intermediate to advanced tarot class that you can contact me about if you'd like to know the rates and what's involved. I also have a Lenormand class, I have a crystal ball reading class, I have a Mexican Loteria class, and a how to read playing cards class. So if you're interested in taking any of these classes, contact me, 779-302-8009, or you can email me at conjurehope@gmail.com too. You can also contact me if you'd like to get a reading from me, and I'll give you the rates for that and what's involved. So remember, it's not always about right or wrong. Sometimes it's about what's the bigger picture, what's the person really need, and what are the variances in the situation, what are the subtleties.